Can you even imagine a single TV episode bringing an entire country to a screeching halt? Well, it actually happened over 40 years ago. And it wasn't some huge sporting event or a major political speech. Nope, it was a wedding on a daytime soap opera.
So just how big of a deal was this? Well, the numbers behind this on-screen romance are absolutely staggering. And that's really where our story has to begin.
30 million. Let that number sink in for a second. That's how many people tuned in on November 16th and 17th, way back in 1981, to watch Luke Spencer and Laura Webber get married on ABC's General Hospital. I mean, that was, and still is, the all-time record for daytime television. It was an event of an unprecedented scale.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This was way more than just a ratings giant. It was a legitimate cultural event that just exploded beyond the TV screen. So what was it? What about this fictional wedding made it so incredibly monumental?
Okay, to answer that, we've got to look inside the wedding itself. Let's break down the details that were happening on screen that completely captured the nation's imagination.
At the heart of it all, of course, were Luke Spencer and Laura Webber Baldwin. The wedding itself looked like a classic TV fairy tale, held at the mayor's mansion in Port Charles. But their story was anything but simple. Not only was there a pretty significant age gap, Luke was 33 and Laura was just 18, but their whole romance actually started with a storyline that was so controversial it sparked a national debate. And that controversy is what ultimately glued everyone to their TVs.
But really, what was happening on the show was only half the story. This thing quickly jumped out of the TV and just snowballed into a real-world cultural phenomenon.
And this is where the story gets really wild. You had Hollywood royalty getting involved. I mean, Elizabeth Taylor, who was a huge fan, made a guest appearance. And not just Hollywood royalty, actual royalty. Princess Diana reportedly sent a bottle of champagne to the actors. It caused this huge media frenzy, landing the couple on the cover of People magazine. It became a true public spectacle, with fans literally packing into bars and dorm rooms just to watch it live together. Now, something this big doesn't just happen in a vacuum. The show spent the early 80s building this massive audience with storylines that were super gripping and, for the time, incredibly controversial. By August of 1981, the anticipation was at a fever pitch. So when the two-day event finally aired in November, it didn't just meet expectations, it completely shattered them. Luke and Laura became these enduring cultural icons, their complicated story being debated for years on magazine covers and eventually on internet message boards. But the impact didn't just stop in 1981. This one single wedding sent shockwaves through the entire television industry for years, and it fundamentally changed the whole landscape. It's really that simple. After Luke and Laura, the expectations for what a TV wedding could be and what it should be were just permanently raised. It became the new gold standard that every other on-screen romance was measured against. I mean, it basically elevated the entire genre. The production values were so high, it proved that daytime TV could be just as grand as primetime. It popularized these really deep emotional themes of love, loss, and redemption, which in turn boosted the popularity of soap operas and brought in millions of new viewers. And of course, it created that ultimate benchmark for all TV couples to follow.
So that was over 40 years ago, a completely different time for media and culture. And it makes you wonder, while Luke and Laura's wedding set a new bar for television, how has the real-world idea of a wedding changed in all the decades since?
Well, the shift is pretty obvious, and it starts with the dress. Back in 1981, it was all about grandeur and tradition. You know, that big princess in white lace look? But today, the focus is completely on personal style. Brides are often looking for comfort, simple shapes, eco-friendly materials, and even unique colors that really express who they are.
And it's pretty much the same story when you look at the bridal veil. Back then, it was a huge symbol of drama and tradition. Today, it's treated much more like a fashion accessory. You see brides experimenting with all kinds of lengths, textures, and styles to show off their unique taste and complete their look. But maybe the single biggest change is in how we all experience these events. In '81, watching was a communal act. People gathered together to watch it live. It was a shared national appointment that you just didn't miss. Now, weddings are experienced through social media. They're shared instantly with live streams, custom hashtags, and perfect posts on Instagram and Twitter. It's become a much more individualized, yet globally accessible kind of event.
So when you really look at the whole journey, you can see how one moment on a popular TV show created a record-breaking broadcast, which became a cultural benchmark and ultimately set a new standard for on-screen romance that we are still talking about all these years later.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for our own time. In this world of a million streaming choices and fragmented social media feeds, could any single fictional story ever unite 30 million of us in a shared experience like that again? It's a powerful thing to think about.